3:17 to go in the first quarter. No score. Phoenix with a third down and about 9.5 to go. Hogeboom avoiding the pressure and getting it away. Incomplete, intended for Roy Green, covered by Terry McDaniel. So it'll be 4th and long, and again, we'll see the Phoenix punting unit.
Hogeboom looking to his right, searching over to the right side, nothing there. Escapes to the left side, throws it on the move, and McElroy goes through there and knocks the ball down.
Tom Tupa, the backup quarterback, who is punting because of an injury to Rich Camarillo, punting for the 3rd time. Stephon Adams from the 12 to about the 23. Brought down by Michael Zordich. A 40-yard punt by Tupa and a 12-yard return. Exactly 3 minutes remaining in the first quarter, and there's no score here in Los Angeles. Coliseum in Los Angeles, Steve Zabriskie along with Hank Stram, and with 3 minutes to go, Hank, in the first quarter, so far a story of missed opportunities.
Yes, it's been a taffy pull so far. You know, the Raiders had good field position and had an opportunity to get 2 field goals, and they blew both of them. And, of course, Phoenix has not done anything at all offensively. They only have 1 first down and made 16 total yards. That's it.
Well, they continue to have a problem running the football, and when you're playing against the Raiders, it can be doubly difficult. But one guy who can run the football is Bo Jackson, who bangs up until Ken Harvey knocks him down, along with Eric Hill. Jackson leading the NFL in 5.7 yards per carry this year. Not bad for a hobby. That time he just got 2, so it's 2nd down and 8. Beuerlein chased out of there, but gets it away. Incomplete. Mervin Fernandez hit from behind by Cedric Mack and unable to hold on. So it'll be 3rd and 8.
They had a blitz that time, and they picked it up pretty well. Beuerlein had to shuffle around back there a little bit to get rid of the football, but he did. But it was very obvious there was good coverage on the play, and he really didn't have much of a chance to do what he wanted to do and get the ball downfield.
He's hit only 1 of his last 5 passes. And as you see, 3 of 10 overall. Now faced with a 3rd and 8. Los Angeles at their own 26. Incomplete. Fernandez breaking over the middle, and the ball overthrown. So the punting unit will come on again, and back and forth we go.
Very obvious that the Cardinals know exactly what Fernandez likes to do. He likes to run inside, and they had McDonald standing right in the middle area waiting for him to come into the middle.
That's a route that's his favorite, and he's going to try to take it away. Jeff Gossett on the punt, and Vi Sikahema back inside his 35. Short kick. Sikahema, no fair catch, and he's hammered after he catches it at about the 42. So a 31-yard punt, but no return. 1:59 left to go in the first quarter. Still no score. Award voted on by his teammates. And Greg Townsend, winner of the award, named for one of the Raiders' slogans. And they have it plastered all over the Coliseum here, Hank. About 100 banners.
Well, that's what Al Davis is all about and what he believes in very strongly. He advertises it, but he lives it. Literally, he lives that philosophy.
Sikahema takes the pitch on first down, finds a little room, and squirts out to about the 46. Bob Golick and Jerry Robinson out there to knock him down.
Watch Wolfley, number 24, going to the left on the left side of your screen. Look at the good block he gets inside, outside. Look at the good block. He sustains it. Does a terrific job on Harden, the safety man of the Raiders.
Sikahema able to gain 4, partially because of that. And you can see that the Raiders have had it all their way offensively, but they've missed 2 field goals. Consequently, No scores. We're near the end of the first quarter. Wolfley, the ball carrier, as a flag goes down. Wolfley to about the 49 of Los Angeles. And it might have been Roy Green, 81, who moved too soon for Phoenix. The illegal motion against the Cardinals. And Dick Hantek will tell
illegal motion, offense, number 81, 5-yard penalty, repeat the down, second down.
So was Roy Green, and the ball will be moved back.
Interesting, Cardinals rushing the ball in the last 2 games, Steve. The longest run by a Phoenix running back has been 6 yards. Not very impressive.
And the 4-yarder just by Wolfley was wiped out. So we're nearing a minute to play in the first quarter, and now it's going to be second down and about 12 yards to go back near the 41. Hogeboom has time and throws it behind Green. Green open a little. Lionel Washington covering, but the ball behind him. Hank, you were talking about how poorly Phoenix has been moving the ball. Here's the last 5 games and the opponents they've played and the total yardage they've rushed.
Well, the tough thing about this is the fact that they really don't have anybody to get outside. I was talking to Stump Mitchell on the field before the game, and he looks terrific, and he's excited about coming back next year. But without him, they really don't have an outside running attack, and run inside. You know, high diddle up the middle doesn't get you much.
Well, they've only got 17 today, as you can see. And now they're not going to be running as they have 4 wideouts in. Third down and a long 11. They are running to stick a Hema on the draw, but he gets a few to the 45, and that is all. Greg Townsend makes the stop. So Phoenix and Tom Tupa will have to punt it away again. Jay Schrader, the backup quarterback, there with Beuerlein.
Al Davis is really biting his nails up there in the press box. I bet you're watching this because of the opportunities they've had, and they haven't been able to take advantage of them.
And on each successive punt, they have lost field position, Hank, which they had twice when they missed the field goals. Tupa this time will have a chance to put them deep. A very high kick. Stephon Adams is going to let it bounce at about the 12, and it's going to roll out of bounds at about the 8 with just 1 second remaining in the quarter. So the Raiders have, in fact, lost field position on every exchange. This a 48-yard punt by Tupa. So 1 play remaining in the first quarter, and Beuerlein and company will do it from inside their 8. Beuerlein has not exactly set the world on fire so far. 3 of 11.
I think anytime you have a problem with your right knee, you have a hard time really pushing off the right leg, and you don't get the follow through that you should.
Bo Jackson with a good hole, and Jackson out to about the 15 in the grasp of Ken Harvey as the first quarter comes to an end. The Raiders had a chance, unable to capitalize. No score.
Here we see a picture of Al Davis in the middle of right there in the press box with a black jacket on, and I talked to him and asked him about Bo Jackson. What about baseball? What about football? You think he has to make a decision about one or the other? He said, no, I really want him to play both baseball and football, and I think he's got the great talent to do that, and I think we owe it to him to let him express that God-given skill. Interesting observation by Al Davis.
And it remains to be seen, of course, Hank, how much longer Jackson will choose to do that as Steve Smith carries and is short of the first down. It'll be third down as the Raiders try to punch it out from deep in their own territory as we start the second quarter. No score here in the Coliseum.
Well, what a surprise. Seattle beating Cincinnati in a game like that one. It's another surprise. Look at Buffalo losing again.
They're going to measure to see if, in fact, Smith had enough for the first down. And he does. By a little more than a half a football. The venerable Coliseum, site of the Olympics in 1932 and 1984. Familiar peristyle in the background. Those were there long before the Golden Arches, I think. From the 18, first and 10. Jackson. Smith and leading the way. He fumbled the ball. It's out of bounds, and the Raiders will maintain possession. But oh, what a run by Jackson, who really showed that world-class speed.
He gets around the corner, and watch Smith, number 35. He's out in front. He gets a piece of one, just enough, and he goes down for the next guy. Look at Bo Jackson. He's got the angle on those people. And in spite of that, he still goes right down the sideline. Young, number 43, finally makes a tackle. But he has really got incredible speed.
50-yard run, and had the football not hit Willie Galt's heel and gone out of bounds, Phoenix might have had a chance to recover it. But look at these runs. Now it's Smith getting outside. And Carl Carter has to bump him out of bounds. A 20-yard run by Smith. So in 2 plays, 70 yards ripped off by the Raiders.
Now we see Smith going outside. And Marcus Allen, number 32, getting a hook block on the safety man, and that's why Smith was able to get out to the outside. That's the reason the play was successful. A good block by Marcus Allen, pinning the safety man to the inside.
Now the Raiders with 110 yards. They started this drive at their own 8. And with Jackson and Smith, the last 2 carries, they've got it on the ground. Flag flies as Marcus Allen had the ball, but the play will be stopped by the infraction prior to the snap.
False start. Offense, number 63. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
John Giesick, the guilty party, moving the ball back to the 17. Inside the 20.
Yeah, that's always been their personality. The history of this club has been they've really taken advantage of opportunities inside the 20-yard line.
First down, 15 yards to go from the 17.
They should run right if they're running right.
And movement prior to the snap again. Now Phoenix jumping, but were they drawn offside? Let's see what Dick Hantek says this time.
Encroachment. Defense, number 66. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
So Jim Waller has jumped on his own. He was not drawn offside. We're back where we were.
Before the play, I said they were going right. Watch the fullback, 35 Smith. He's way ahead of the halfback, Marcus Allen. And in that case, usually the play is going to go to the right side. And that's exactly where they started to run before the penalty was called.
So we're back to the original line of scrimmage. The 12, first and 10. Straight ahead goes Marcus Allen. Couple of yards and maybe 3 inside the 10. Jim Waller and Freddie Joe Nunn combining for the stop. 13.5 minutes left to play in the second quarter. No score here in Los Angeles, but the Raiders, who have missed 2 field goals, are threatening with the ball inside the Phoenix 10. And if this is Marcus Allen's last game in the Coliseum as a Raider, what a career he has had.
And he'll continue to have outstanding years. I really believe that. He's a terrific player.
Jackson tries to cut it back, but gets maybe a yard is all, as he runs into a pile.
You know, talking about Jackson, it's amazing what a great feeling the teammates, all of his teammates feel for him. He's a big league baseball player and, of course, a great football player. They really marvel at what a great personality he has and how much of a team guy he is and how much he loves playing football and playing for the Raiders.
And you know, he certainly leaves himself open, Hank, for some animosity, missing training camp because of baseball coming in late. And it's amazing that that's not the case.
Well, you know why they don't feel that way? Because they know he's going to somehow, some way help them win.
Timeout called by the Raiders. Still no score. Third down. Pump fake, lots of time, end zone incomplete. It was intended for number 42, Vance Mueller, who was open in the end zone, and it might have been Carl Carter who got a hand on it to tip it away.
What were they trying to do here? They were trying to hit Allen in the flat in an option pattern. He pumps, then he sees Mueller inside, throws it a little bit high. I think it was tipped. And, of course, it goes incomplete.
It was Eric Hill who tipped the pass. So, once again, Jeff Jaeger will attempt the field goal. This one will be a 25-yarder, and this time it's good. Third time's a charm. He's now made 12 straight inside the 40. It's outside the 40 where he has a problem. Finally, on the third attempt, the Raiders take the lead with 12:23 to go in the first half.
Smooth operator wet-dry razors from Panasonic. Electric razors used with water and lather. And by the new generation of Oldsmobile. Step into the future now at your Oldsmobile dealer.
The Raiderettes. Entertaining. Celebrating a 25-yard field goal that has given the Raiders a 3-0 lead. Jaeger will kick it off. Darrell Usher and Vi Sekihima are back. Usher ran into a pile short of the 20 and fell forward to about the 22. So Phoenix will have it 1st and 10, trailing by 3, and we'll return to the Coliseum in just a minute. Clinch the home field with a win. You know, with 12 teams still in the AFC, there's only, after today, 2 weeks left.
Well, that's the great thing about parity. You see, you love that because there's a lot of teams still have a chance to make the playoffs, and that's what it's all about. That's what they want.
Well, that is what they want, and that's what they're getting with parity. In the NFC, it's a little clearer picture. The Raiders are in the hunt, but they need to win today and then win the next 2 games, which will each be on the road in order to make the playoffs. Phoenix 1st and 10. On their own 23. Raiders lead it 3-0. Hogeboom trying to set up the screen to Farrell. Farrell gets a block, but trips over his own player. Derek Kennard was making a block, but Farrell tripped over his leg. Got to almost the 29.
If you're going to run a screen, the quarterback really has to be a good actor. He's got to pretend like he's going to throw the ball downfield. They wait, let the penetration come. Watch Farrell, number 31, coming back. He's got to jump a little bit for the ball and get a block downfield, but the leg of the offensive lineman is sticking out there, and he bumped into the leg and fell right down on the play.
Picked up 6. And the Cardinals change the formation again. Farrell cuts back. Has the first down as he gets to about the 36. Greg Townsend on the tackle along with Mike Harden. Earl Farrell telling us the other night about the change in his attitude now that his running back coach is the head coach.
Yes, he said, you know, I used to argue with him when he was the backfield coach. We really had some great sessions, but I don't do that anymore now that he's the head coach.
I wonder why.
Smart.
Hogeboom stacked by Howie Long. Howie Long, perhaps playing as good as at any time in his great career, would not be denied. Hogeboom sacked for the 2nd time.
You get a shot at Howie Long coming in here. There he is. He slaps away the guard, Lance Smith, and goes right in there, right at the quarterback, and makes the penetration and gets the tackle.
So now it's second down and about 17 yards to go. Howie Long coming again, but Hogeboom gets it away. Sikahema, no, he did not have control as he went out of bounds at the 36, and Hogeboom took a shot. Let's go to Brent Musburger in New York for an NFL Today update.
Automatic first down.
So you hear defensive holding against the Raiders, moving the ball to the 34, where it'll be an automatic first down for Phoenix. They lead 3-0, and what a big addition Meggett has been to the Giants. He's having a fine rookie year as he scores for New York.
Yeah, he gives them really the outside and the home run dimension that they really didn't have without him.
Farrell trying to get away, no hole inside. And he does well to gain a few as he gets up to about the 39. Terry McDaniel, the left corner, finally got him out of bounds along with some help from his friends. We're at the Memorial Coliseum in Los Angeles, and as Brent said, the sunshine of Los Angeles, Southern California, a typically beautiful day. Steve Zabriskie and Hank Stram, where the Raiders lead Phoenix 3-0 with 9:52 to go in the second. And again, Hank, the Cardinals having a hard time sustaining a drive in the running game.
They really have. And, of course, Farrell, talking to Farrell the other day, he said he doesn't carry the ball enough. He only carries about 8 times. He can't get in the flow of the game, which is probably true.
He's back at fullback now. And it's Sikahema who has it in a good hole, but it closed quickly. Coming up very quickly, Mike Harden and Tom Benson.
You know, watching this Cardinal team play, they get exactly the backs I'm talking about. They get exactly what's there. Nothing more, nothing less. Whatever the hole demands, that's what they get. And that's why they're in trouble running the football.
Whereas the great back, if I can read into what you're saying, Hank, takes something and makes more out of it than just what's there.
Well, the great back, you know, they stretch those short games and the big games. And that's the difference between the great back and just a back.
There's the Denver Giants score, with the Giants now leading 14-0. Earl Farrell tripped up as he crosses the line of scrimmage by Howie Long. Howie Long, lying flat on his stomach, is able to reach up and trip up Earl Farrell. And Hank, you talked earlier about Stump Mitchell not being in the Cardinals lineup. There he is on the sidelines, and that's the dimension they're missing.
Yeah, and I saw him before, you know, and talked to him on the field. He's all dressed up there. I asked him, he looked like he just bought the franchise. Looks like a big typhoon there on the sideline, doesn't he? We had a nice visit, and he's very, very involved with this football team, and of course, really looking forward to coming back next year.
He had a very, very serious knee reconstruction. Second down and 4. Complete, Ernie Jones, and Jones has a first down at the Los Angeles 42. Lionel Washington and Tom Benson down there covering. A 10-yard gain.
I talked about this earlier in the broadcast. Dink and dunk. They're playing a lot of zone, and that's what they have to do. They just have to be patient and throw the ball in front between the linebackers and the defensive backs, and be satisfied with that and be patient and move the ball down the field. And they don't have to play action very much because they don't run well enough to run play action passes.
Again, the Cardinals jump around and change the formation. Farrell powering straight ahead to about the 36.
They got a pretty good push that time. Pretty good push by the right side of the offensive line of the Cardinals. Robbins got off the ball in good shape that time, and so did the right guard, Lance Smith.
This is by far the deepest penetration for Phoenix. They previously had gotten only to their own 47. They're now at the 36 of Los Angeles, the 9th play of the drive. Not much happening inside, maybe a couple to about the 34.
You have to be
Golick, the tackle.
You have to be a magician to get through those holes. We get a look at Golick, number 79, right on the center. Watch him use his hands, shed the blocker, and get right in the gap and make the play. That's a big league play by Bob Golick, number 79.
Another guy that the Raiders have picked up late in his career who has turned out quite nicely, thank you. Third down, Farrell again. Townsend has him very close to the first down.
They know you're going to go inside. That's like going through a thrashing machine. They're not getting much yardage, not much push.
Well, they know that they're unable to run outside with effectiveness, and that's really, when you have one thing to defend rather than two, Hank, you can do a better job. They're going to measure to see if it is enough for the first down.
Normally, if you run from a I formation, at least you have a little room to make an outside move and maybe get outside. But from a near formation, when he's back about 4 yards, it's hard to make that adjustment.
On third down, they do have enough for the first down. At the Los Angeles 32, Phoenix will have it first and 10. They trail by 3 with just under 6 minutes remaining in the half.
You know, talking to Larry Wilson before the game, he was talking about how hard these players have played and how hard they have worked, and they just haven't been able to get it done. They're just 2 or 3 or 4 plays away from winning more games than they have.
And they've had so many injuries that this is really the first time in a long time they've had any kind of a stable lineup. On the option, Farrell fumbling the pitch. Picked up by Mike Wise. Mike Wise still going. He will score. At 275, he rumbles all the way.
And here's the outing was perfect. Everything gets the ball outside, but Farrell did not have control of the football and lost it. Mike Weiss picks it up. Look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at all the black jerseys out in front of that ball carrier. That's good coaching, good hustle. And look at Weiss. Uh-oh, there he is. He's given the high-fi cross that time.
The Raiders score their 6th defensive touchdown of the year, and Mike Wise is not going to let that ball get away. A 64-yard fumble recovery to make it 9-0 with the extra point to come. Wise is out of the University of California at Davis, which is in Northern California between San Francisco and Sacramento. And there's a review going on. Bill Swanson is the replay official, and they are reviewing the play. Let's go back and look at it ourselves.
And it all starts, it's a perfect call. The one way to get outside the option, but you see that he doesn't have possession of the ball, control of it. And as a result, Mike Weiss picks it up. Look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4.
After further review, we have a reversal. The ball was a backward pass, not possessed by the ball carrier. Therefore,
the crowd is not going to like it. And neither does Mike Wise.
The defense can only recover. They may not advance. First and 10, Los Angeles.
Let's take another look at it as the 64-yard return is wiped out.
Here we see it again. It is a backward pass, a lateral. He doesn't have possession of it. The rule says that you can recover that, but you can't run with a fumble. Didn't count. And as soon as he gets through here, he's going to call the fire department and get a big resuscitator down there to make sure he makes it the rest rest of this game.
Dial-in 9-1-1 shortly. Raiders have it 1st and 10 at their own 36. They lead 3-0 as the touchdown is wiped out, and Beuerlein going long. Willie Gault has it. He beats Cedric Mack for a 47-yard gain to the 17 at Phoenix.
Beuerlein gets back in the pocket in good shape, sets up nicely, good pass protection, throws the ball deep downfield, and Willie Gault, see the ball is thrown on the outside, and he makes the adjustment, makes the move, a beautiful catch, and it deceives Cedric Mack a little bit. Here we see it again. Look at the pressure, but he stays in the pocket and throws it right over the top.
Bo Jackson on 1st down. Gets a couple down to the 15. Willie Gault with a 47-yard gain. He's not only had some big play here, but he's had quite a few of them this year.
Well, you know, the other thing about Gault is that we talked about throwing vertically. Al Davis says, we don't want to take what they give us. We're going to take what we want. And that's the way they like to throw the ball. And even though they're in a zone defense, they're going to throw the ball up on top.
Willie Gault with world-class speed. He and Willie Anderson of the Rams leading the pack. And Beuerlein sacked, and the ball came free. Is it a fumble? No. Yes, it is. Dick Hantek shaking his head no, but Eric Hill came up with the ball.
Eric Hill, the middle linebacker, number 58. He's blitzing on the play. Watch him. He comes right up. Nobody touches him. There he is. Beuerlein is trying to escape. He can't do it. He drops the football. And look at Hill roll around and come back and finds the ball and pounces on the ball. A great blitz by Hill and a recovery also by Hill, number 58.
So he got the sack and he got the fumble recovery on the same play. Second sack of Beuerlein, and the Raiders are turned away again. 1st and 10 Phoenix, just outside their 25. Hogeboom faking and now throwing over the middle and completing it to Ernie Jones. And Jones is blasted right away by Eddie Anderson. The 16-yard gain, and Ernie Jones is shaken up. And when you hear the story of Eddie Anderson's bench pressing ability, you'll know why he's able to make hits like this.
There you see the escape, and he throws the ball down the field to Jones. Watch the hit. Boy, that's really thumping somebody.
4:07 to go in the second.
So intent on working with the weight that Willie Brown, the great defensive back and Hall of Famer for the Raiders, had to go in and say, listen, it's too much. You're overdoing it. You're going to wind up being a linebacker.
That's right. Maybe that's what he'd like to be. When we mentioned the name Jack Tatum the other day, that's the guy that the Raider players immediately thought of, was Anderson. Second down and 10. Hogeboom stepping up, incomplete, intended for Roy Green, and the flag goes down. Lionel Washington is going to be called, and he doesn't like it. He's in the face of Phil Bates, the back judge, who made the call.
Hogeboom wants to dump the ball off with a dump, but he doesn't get a chance to. He jumps into the pocket. Now watch Washington, and the ball pops out of there. I don't know why they call pass interference unless they maybe thought he tackled him before he made the catch.
Well, it was close. Close enough to be called, apparently, in spite of Washington's objection.
I'll tell you one thing, there was very, very good coverage on the part of the Raiders all the way over the field that time, including Washington's coverage, even though they called the penalty.
So it moves the ball to the 46 with 1st and 10. Hogeboom has a lot of time, but again, nobody's open, so he'll run, and Townsend runs him down from behind. What a good gain by Hogeboom of 8 or 9 yards.
Now Hogeboom really is not what you'd call an escape artist, but he's got a good feel for pressure. The pass protection is good. Look at all the time he's got. Look at all the time he's looking. He sees the big seam in the middle, and it immediately takes off. He knows what he has to do, gets as much out of that play as he possibly can. A good play by Gary Hogeboom.
2nd down and 1. Batted back in his face. Bob Golick appeared to get a hand on it. So it's going to be 3rd down and a yard to go. Golick's been hitting the helmet so many times his stripes off center.
Here he is, 79. There the hand comes up.
It could have been either Golick or Howie Long. They both had their arms.
Yeah, it looked like it really was Howie Long that made the tip.
Nonetheless, it's 3rd and 1. Earl Farrell straight ahead, and he may have it. It's going to be very close. It is enough for a 1st down.
They got the 1st down, but they didn't have much room, especially for that big back. That big back like Farrell, who weighs about 240. Hard time going through those skinny holes.
He got the ball nearly to the 35. Earl's lost about 10 pounds this season. Hogeboom under pressure, lofting it for Ernie Jones, who has a touchdown. And a flag goes down, but it's probably going to be an interference call again against the Raiders.
Probably Washington, number 48.
Let's hear what Dick Hantek has to say.
Pass interference. Defense, number 48. Penalty is declined. Touchdown.
A 35-yard touchdown pass to Ernie Jones. And the Cardinals have taken the lead.
Play action fake. And give Gary Hogeboom a lot of credit, throwing the ball falling away, and he throws it right over the top of Washington. And they call pass interference on the play. You see what he does. He's got his left hand on his left shoulder while the ball is coming down. It's a good call, and it was definitely pass interference.
And a fine catch by Ernie Jones. Good job to hold on and get it into the end zone. So Al Del Greco will boot the extra point, and with 2:16 left to go in the 1st half, the Phoenix Cardinals, on an impressive drive, lead the Raiders now 7-3. Second year out of Indiana with a fine catch, a good throw by Hogeboom, and a 7-3 Phoenix lead as we near the 2-minute mark of the 1st half here in Los Angeles. That was an impressive drive, Henry, by the Cardinals.
It really was. They ran a little bit, and of course they got the big play with a play action pass. They got the touchdown by Jones.
Had they not been able to run a little bit, the play action might not have worked. So now Del Greco will kick it off. Vance Mueller and Stephon Adams are deep, and the kickoff goes out of bounds. So Los Angeles will have an opportunity to start at their own 35. Well, next Saturday, CBS Sports will bring you a full day of sports action. The NFL Today will start off at 12 noon on Saturday, followed by the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants. And then at 3:45, the season premiere of college basketball on CBS as the Blue Demons of DePaul take on the North Carolina Tar Heels. That's all next Saturday, beginning at noon with the NFL Today right here on CBS. .212 left to play in the half. 1st and 10 Los Angeles at their own 35. Phoenix now leading 7-3. Bo Jackson with blockers to about the 42. Knocked down by Tim McDonald and Carl Carter. Bo now has carried 10 times for 95 yards. 2-minute warning here in the first half. We'll return in just a minute. Howie Long taking a break as the Raiders offense is on the field with 2 minutes remaining in the first half. Phoenix has all 3 of their timeouts remaining, and the Raiders have 2. Coming up at halftime, be sure to stick around. Brent and Herb will have all the scores and highlights for you, as well as the latest developments from around the league on the NFL Today halftime report. 2nd down and 2.
Here again, they should be coming this way if they run.
Preliminary jump, and Bo Jackson coming this way with blockers. He has the 1st down and more as he gets near midfield. And it looked like Jim Waller for Phoenix, number 66, the defensive right tackle, may have jumped. And it is against the Cardinals. This turned out to be more complicated than we thought.
Offside, defense, number 66. Kinley is declined. It is a 1st down.
It is Waller, and they'll take the Bo Jackson run. We're at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. Steve Zabriskie and Hank Stram with 1:54 left to play in the half. Phoenix is leading the Raiders 7-3. First down. Good protection. Complete. Mervyn Fernandez. Wrapped up by Carl Carter. But another 1st down, and it's in Phoenix territory, a gain of 18.
Fernandez is anchored on the left side. Good protection. Look at all the time. Step, throw, follow through. There's the ball right on the money in front of the defensive back, Carter, number 41. He tries to get up the field, but Carter lassos him there and makes the tackle.
Beuerlein to pass on 1st down again, firing over the middle, and it's for Fernandez, a complete at the 14. Fine kick, timeout called by Beuerlein.
Los Angeles, their 2nd timeout. This is a 40-second timeout.
This will just be a 40-second timeout, and the Raiders will have 1 more remaining.
Here's the last pass again. Look at all the time he's got to throw the ball. That's the key to the success of that play. Throwing inside to Fernandez. And here again, you know, talking to him yesterday, it's surprising. I said if he had a chance to run one pattern, just one, what's the pattern that you like most of all? He said, I like to run across the middle about 18, 20 yards. There was a great illustration on that last play. He loves to run that route.
And that's unlike most wide receivers, Hank, but he's a little bigger than most wide receivers.
Yeah, most outside receivers want to run to the post, or want to run a streak, or want to run a post corner, but he wants to come inside. Unusual.
Fernandez, of course, had many great years in the Canadian Football League. Just another example of players that the Raiders pick up from here, there, and everywhere and have great success with. 1st and 10 from the 14 of Phoenix. Bo Jackson chased by Freddie Joe Nunn and hauled down as Jackson gets maybe a yard. Jackson over 100 yards today for the 5th time in his career.
Watch Nunn come over here. Look at this. Look at the speed of Freddie Joe Nunn. Gets a good angle and makes a tackle. A great play by him.
Beuerlein throwing it, and Fernandez going the other way. Fernandez ran a curl route, and Beuerlein threw it to the back corner of the end zone. So 38 seconds remaining in the half, and it'll be 3rd down and about 9. This is the 4th time, Hank, that the Raiders have been inside the 20. They missed 2 field goals, made a 25-yarder. So we'll see what they do here.
They'll probably bring Marcus Allen in the game, and Mueller, I would think. Marcus Allen is an excellent receiver and runs very precise routes.
Marcus Allen is in there in the backfield along with Smith as Fernandez is in motion. 3rd down and 9. Beuerlein to the end zone. Incomplete. Intended for Willie Gault, who was open. And Carl Carter pushed him again, as he and Gault have really been going at it. And Gault pushed him back. And the flag goes down, and it's probably going to be on the retaliator, as usual. Gault was open, but the ball was overthrown. But the action really took place after the play. .32 seconds remaining. Pending the outcome of the penalty, it's going to be 4th down for the Raiders.
Pretty a bad play by Willie Gault. The pushing play after the play was over.
We have holding on the offense, number 68. We have personal foul, unnecessary roughness on the defense, number 41. Penalties are offset. 3rd down.
So they didn't get Willie Gault for retaliating.
No, I was surprised at that. Now watch Carter. Watch Carter. This is it here, I guess. But he didn't do anything bad. He just kind of bumped into him a little bit, and Gault gave him a shove in the back. I don't understand that one.
I don't either. That's a holdover from the previous play earlier in the game where they wrestled each other out of bounds.
I can't understand that one at all.
So it's 3rd and 9 again for Los Angeles. Incomplete. Intended for Willie Gault again, and this time it was Cedric Mack who was all over. 24 seconds remaining in the half. It'll be 4th down.
Here again, the key. If you get this kind of pass protection and on this area, you ought to be able to complete the pass. He escapes, goes to the right side, plenty of time to throw the ball looking, throws the Gault inside, and look at the coverage on the play. Cedric Mack, 47, gets up with the right hand, knocks it down. The left hand is free. No pass interference on the play. Really a great play by Cedric Mack.
So here's Jaeger for a 30-yard field goal attempt. And he drives it right through there to be 2 out of 4 on the day. All the Raiders have been able to come up with 2 field goals by Jaeger, and it is now 7-6 with 21 seconds remaining in the first half. Jaeger's unconscious from inside the 40, but shaky outside the 40. 2 teams here, Hank, who have had coaching changes already this season, with Art Shell and Hank Kuhlman each taking over. But they're not alone, and I think there may be some more to come.
I'm sure that's fading around the league, but there might be another 3 or 4 moving on to another location after the conclusion of this season.
Jim Hannafin now coaching in Atlanta, taking over for Marion Campbell. If you go back to the 70s, the merger year, 1970, there have been 36 teams that have changed their coach in mid-season. And here's a little bit of their record of what has happened. But at least it's more than 50% improvement.
Improved the record, yes.
But only 19 of those 36, just barely over 50%, return next year. And, of course, we asked Hank Kuhlman if he had any word on whether or not he was going to be the guy.
And he said he wasn't concerned about that really. At least that's what he said. He said, the only thing I know is I'm going to do the very best that I possibly can do. I've got a responsibility here to these players and also to the organization. And if we win and I get a chance to stay, that's great. If I don't, that's the way it is. But at least I'll be able to look myself in the mirror and be able to shave without being ashamed.
Short kick taken by one of the up men, Walter Reeves. And now just 15 seconds remaining in the half, and Phoenix has the ball back. The Raiders today have 260 yards of total offense in the first half. Henry, 260 yards. They only have 6 points.
Yeah, they're just, you know, the old Raiders, when they had an opportunity, and of course that's why this team is going through this growing process. They're a young team, and they make a lot of mistakes. They don't take advantage of the opportunities. But in the past, when they got you down, they would take advantage of those opportunities.
Hogeboom under pressure, and he's hammered by Scott Davis. Sacked for the 3rd time. That moves the ball back to the 20 with 10 seconds remaining in the half. And now the clock will start. So apparently Phoenix is going to be content to let the clock run out here in the first half. The Cardinals, however, perhaps somewhat surprisingly, have the lead at the end of the first half here in Los Angeles as they lead the Raiders 7-6 at halftime. About the 24. The Raiders have had very, very good special team coverage. In fact, they rank second and first in kickoff and punt coverage.
And people don't realize sometimes how important that is. You know, there's 3 ways you can win a game with offense, defense, and especially teams. And if you can win 2 out of the 3, you usually win that game. And that's why the specialty teams are so very important.
Stephon Adams, 44, the captain of that special team unit. Fumble. Nobody is touched, and now he's touched. The ball was picked up by Tom Benson, and the Raiders have it. Mike Harden made the hit that knocked the ball loose, and Tom Benson recovered the fumble.
And there you see the hit. A good straight-ahead shot, fumble, and Benson, number 54, recovers the fumble, and the Raiders have great field position and a terrific way to start the third quarter. But again, the important thing is they have to take advantage of it, which they haven't been able to do so far.
So they get it again deep in Phoenix territory. It's 1st and 10 at the Phoenix 25. The second Cardinals turnover. Fake to Jackson, now pitch to Jackson. It must have been a broken play.
They went the wrong way. They were supposed to go to the right, and they went left.
And I think it was Steve Smith, the fullback, that really was the first one to make the mistake because he broke before the snap.
Well, he was leading the play to make a block, and he went to the wrong side. He went left instead of to the right.
Bo Jackson probably said, I know I'm supposed to go right, but since he's going left, I'm going with him.
I'm going to join the party.
Beuerlein didn't know what to do with it. So it's back to the 31, a loss of 6. The second down is 16. Jackson gets it back and a little bit more as he gets to the 24. Bo already over 100 yards today.
You know, I'm watching Bo run. He's such a great runner, and he does a terrific job from all formations. But I really think that, you know, he does such an exceptional job from the I formation where he has 2 extra yards to run and read and respond and see what he's doing. And I think he's much, much more effective to make big plays from that formation maybe than he would from the normal formation.
With his speed, it certainly helps him get outside.
Well, you have to get him in space. That's the important thing.
He's out of there now as it is 3rd down and 9. Over the middle, incomplete, intended for Mueller. Mueller covered by Ken Harvey, but the ball just overthrown. So again, Los Angeles will have to go for the field goal.
Going right down the middle with a linebacker covering on the play. The ball is right over the top, perfectly thrown. And it looked like it was just a little bit too high for him to make that play.
Jaeger will attempt a 42-yarder, and it's beyond 40 where he's had trouble. Knuckleball hits the upright and is no good. Jeff Jaeger fails again from beyond 40 yards, and it remains Phoenix 7, Los Angeles 6. Memorial Coliseum sparsely filled today, as with 13:15 to go in the third quarter, Phoenix leads the Raiders 7-6. Steve Zabriskie and Hank Stram with you here on CBS, and Jeff Jaeger misses another 40-plus yard field goal.
You know, the tough thing about missing a field goal as far as professional football is concerned, somebody has to go over to Jaeger and try to pep him up a little bit. You know, everybody escapes and leaves him, And he's got all that time to worry about the kick that he's missed, and he's got to do something about it.
Good fake by Hogeboom as he gets it to Earl Farrell. And Farrell gets out to about the 38. Let's go back and take a look at the missed field goal as Jaeger has only made one of his last 9 outside of 40 yards.
You can't see what happened on the play from this angle, but, you know, sometimes the left foot, if it's not exactly right, or if you're too close to the ball and you don't get a chance to get the flaps up.
Unnecessary roughness, defense. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense. Penalties are offset. First down.
Well, again, there was a little extracurricular activity after the play, so the penalties wipe each other out. Jerry Robinson called the infraction on the part of the Raiders. I don't know if somebody might have gotten a hand on that ball, Hank. The way it went up there.
Yeah, it was funny the way it went up there. If nobody touched it, he had to kick it right in the middle of the ball to kick it that low. Really hard to tell.
Here's Farrell again, and he gets a couple to about the 41. Minnesota scoring 43 today. Okoye, 131 yards.
Big win for Kansas City, and Chicago's knocked right out of the playoffs. Good game here, 2017 by Houston.
Seattle Seahawks winning again, this time beating Cincinnati. On second down, Sikahema hit right away by Tom Benson as he got to the line of scrimmage. And he picks up maybe a yard.
Number 54 comes in on the left side here. There you see him. Nobody touches him. Good anticipation. He sees the hole and gets into the gap as soon as he possibly can, gets penetration and makes the play. Great reaction on the part of Benson.
That's what you call filling the hole. Third down. From the shotgun, Poole wide out. Hogeboom chased out. Nowhere to go. Mark Mraz and Jerry Robinson get him down. Phoenix will kick it away.
You talk about a good hit that time. Robinson really got the shoulder pads on him that time and gave him a big tattoo right in the chest.
That is the 4th sack for the Raiders. Tom Tupa doing the punting today for the injured Rich Camarillo. Stephon Adams is deep. And Tupa booms it. Adams at about the 7th. Dropped as he gets across the 15. And again, it's Garth Jacks who makes a lot of special teams tackles. Tupa's done a fine job. That's another 51-yard punt. And another fight breaks out after the play. And another penalty flag goes down. Ron Wolfley, as usual, in the middle of it, number 24 for Phoenix. Dick Hantak and the crew have been busy, Hank, but most of them have been after plays have been over.
Yeah, this Cardinal team is hung in there just like Larry Wilson said they would.
Unnecessary roughness. Personal foul. Phoenix, unnecessary roughness. Penalties are offset. First down.
No, that's what usually happens. Well, the playoff races are heating up, and CBS kicks off next Sunday's action with the NFL today, followed by games which will affect the playoff picture. Some of you will see Green Bay and Chicago, while others of you will see Minnesota and Cleveland in an interconference matchup. It's next Sunday, starting with the NFL today, right here on CBS. Raiders trail by 1, 10:45 to go in the third, 1st and 10. Jackson. And he's going to be thrown for a loss back at the 10-yard line. David Galloway got such penetration that Jackson couldn't get out of the backfield. Tim McDonald on the stop.
That time they ran from the I formation, the kind of a counter play. He seems like he's, you know, he does such a terrific job whenever he has the ball, of course, but it still seems to me that if he ran and they just pitched the ball to him outside from the I formation, he can make a lot of yardage.
Tim McDonald really has been the high point of the Cardinals defense this year. And as you said earlier, Hank, if he's not in the Pro Bowl, we're going to have an investigation. Phoenix may have jumped off sides before the snap. Jackson getting outside and getting up to about the 19 before he's run out of bounds. It looked like Freddie Joe Nunn early on the left side. And it is offsides against Phoenix. I'll tell you, there's been a lot of meetings going on today.
Offside, defense, number 78, 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down, second down.
Well, it was Freddie Joe Nunn. We'll look at it again.
On the left side there, Freddie Joe Nunn, number 78. There he is. He jumps 5 yards.
That moves the ball out to the 15. It is second down and 12. Beuerlein over the middle, complete to Fernandez, who's knocked down immediately by Lonnie Young, but holds on to it. And a flag again goes down after the play. A 23-yard gain.
It looked like Bo Jackson moved before he was supposed to go at time, and whether he got back in time or not, I don't know. But there was movement before the ball was snapped.
Yeah, he definitely picked his hand up, but no flag was thrown on that. The flag was thrown after the play was over yet again. If the completion stands, it would give Los Angeles a first down.
Delay of the game. Demonstration by the offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
So they are calling Mervin Fernandez for spinning the football after the play. Boy, that, to me, Hank, is a pretty borderline call.
That really is. Watch. Carter's looking inside. Evidently he's playing a zone. And Fernandez goes inside, catches the ball high, gets hit there by Cedric Mack. And then... Now here's where he got the penalty. He gives it the old top job, a little spin there. Does a good job, makes the spin good.
Yeah.
It was Lonnie Young who made the tackle. I'm sorry, I think it was Lonnie Young, 43.
So the delay of game penalty for Fernandez spinning the ball as he released it, moves it back inside the 30. Now, is it a first down or isn't it? They have not moved the chain.
It's been like 5 yards. It is first and 10.
Right. It certainly ought to be first and 10 as it came after the play. Now they do move the chain. So it's from the 30 now. First and 10, Los Angeles. Not only have we seen quite a few penalties, Hank, we've seen some different penalties.
Unusual penalty. Yes, that's right.
Jackson, maybe 3 to the 33 is all. He's going to go back over 100 yards. He was over 100, and then the loss of 7 moved him back under 100, and so he could be back at 100 yards now. Third quarter, Giants still leading Denver 14-0. Giants have got to have it in the snow. Cleveland by 7 over Indianapolis. Jackson is right at 100 yards for the 3rd time today. of Phoenix. Cut down by Carl Carter. A 33-yard gain by the young man who was certainly the star last week.
They're coming after him, and they got, he steps up into the pocket. A good push on the outside, and he gets the ball right there in the middle area. It looked like it was a zone again. He hit the middle spot, made the catch. And, of course, he's the kind of a guy you want to hit in that situation with zone coverages, because the tight end or the back should have a great opportunity to make catches.
Dial, a 240-pounder out of Texas A&I. Steve Smith cutting it back. And getting a cue down to the 32, Eric Hill on the tackle for Phoenix. 7:48 to go in the third quarter. Phoenix by 1, and the Raiders driving.
You know, this year, the Raiders have played a lot of good football, but they just haven't had really any consistency at the quarterback position.
Beuerlein has them moving on this drive, but they have stalled out. Jackson cutting it back, tripped up by Lonnie Young, and then covered by Eric Hill. And Jackson maybe gained a yard at most. Bo today still right at 100 as he's credited with no gain, but he's still outrushed the Cardinals by 32 yards. Third down, 7.
I tell you, the Cardinals have two good safety people, I tell you, Young and they got him.
They have been coming up and supporting very well. You're right, Hank. Over the middle again, incomplete, intended for Marcus Allen. He was open at about the 20, but the pass was too tall.
He gets a little pressure from the inside. There you see it. You see the hit. It looked like Sadler got the penetration and got the hit right about the time he was getting ready to throw the football, and he throws it incomplete.
Well, here's Jeff Jaeger for another plus 40 field goal attempt. 48 yards. He's 1 for 9. He hit this one very well, and it is good. Maybe they ought to say 10th time's the charm. The Raiders go back out in front 9-7 on a 48-yarder by Jeff Jaeger. The season premiere of college basketball, DePaul and North Carolina. Tekahima out to about the 28, dragged down by Stephon Adams. And Hogeboom and the Cardinals will go back on the attack, with the Raiders leading now 9-7. 3 Jeff Jaeger field goals, 2 in the second quarter and 1 here in the third. Hogeboom with a pass to Ernie Jones in the second quarter for their only score. First and 10 to 28. Earl Farrell driving forward to about the 33, 39.
Well, it's a problem, and he admitted the other day, talking to him, he said we missed, we really missed Stump Mitchell, right? Because he used to take an awful lot of pressure off of me. Now all the pressure's on me.
Hogeboom under pressure, drops the ball. Who's got it? It looks like Phoenix has recovered, and it looked like Scott Dill who fell on it. But that will go as a sack, the 5th for the Raiders.
There is a play-action fake, and look at on the outside. He goes around the block and then makes the tackle in the sack. We're talking about Townsend. And he's very quick, very aggressive, and really gets off the ball well.
But the Cardinals retain possession. It is 3rd down 11. Roy Green in motion from the shotgun. Flags fly. The play will be stopped.
False start. Offense, number 61. 5-yard penalty.
So now it's 3rd and 16. We've had a total of 9 penalties. Had a lot of offsetting penalties on top of that. Incomplete, intended for Jones. It hit him in the hands, and the Phoenix Cardinals will have to give it away. Let's go back to Brent for NFL Today update. He's playing like it, Hank, with that 4th down goal line stand. Stephon Adams calling for the fair catch, and again Tupa with an outstanding punt. Back to the 28. A 51-yard punt. Tupa's had 3 or 4 of them over 50 yards today. 4:16 left to go in the 3rd.
We're going to go back to Oakland.
You don't?
Nope.
Maybe Sacramento? 1st and 10 Raiders. Beuerlein with good protection hits Fernandez. 1st down in Phoenix territory at the 49. Carter and McDonald get him after a gain of 24.
See, you wonder why does he get open in the middle area? Play action fake, good protection. But the reason he gets into that middle area because Gall is cleaning it out, and he's got plenty of room underneath as Galt cleans out that deep area. And that's what you have to have. You can throw the ball vertically. You have to have somebody with lightning speed to clean it out so you can throw underneath.
Swervin Mervin now with 120 yards in receptions on the day. Steve Smith will go nowhere. And a good play by Rod Sadler, who was in there quickly about the same time that Smith got the ball. We have just over 3 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter. Los Angeles leading Phoenix 9-7. And the Raiders with a 2nd down. And 10.5 to go from the 49 of Phoenix. Knocked in the air and up for grabs. Caught by Dial. Mike Dial's going to be ruled down where he caught the ball. Beuerlein's arm was hit, and Dial came up with it.
He should have signaled for a fair catch. That ball went right up in the air. It looked like a punt, and he comes down with the ball. Dial does 84. Watch what happens here. Watch Beuerlein go back into the pocket. Look at their blitz. The ball gets hit. It goes right up in the air like a punt. Watch Dial, number 84. He comes in. He's very alert. He makes a terrific play of making that catch.
Oh, he's having a big game again after last week. He caught that ball right over Anthony Bell. 3rd down, draw play. And not quite enough. To about the 39. They needed to get past the 39 for the 1st down. It's going to be 4th and less than a yard. As Marcus Allen was short, and the crowd wants Art Shell to go for it.
Art Shell told us that Marcus Allen would probably play this afternoon, but in a limited capacity, would run draws and also run some patterns. That's exactly what he's done.
Trey Junkin, a backup tight end, is in the game, along with Steve Wright. So they actually have 3 tight ends on 4th down. Jackson going to be very close.
He made the yardage. He got a pretty good push at the end. It looked like it was going to be a little cluttered when he hit the hole, but he got a pretty good push.
He made it. You're right, Henry. 1st down, Raiders.
Good time now for a play-action pass after slamming it in there like they did. This would be a good time, a perfect time for a play-action pass right here.
The ball is at the 38 of Phoenix. 40 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. And the Raiders who trailed, now lead by 2. This is the 6th play of the drive. Fake play action pass. Beuerlein going long as the penalty flag is down, incomplete. Intended for Willie Gault, and Lonnie Young, the free safety, just tore the ball away from him, but there was a flag at the line of scrimmage. Holding against Los Angeles. While we get the call, let's go back to New York and another NFL Today update.
Well, Steve, quickly, the Denver Broncos have gotten back in the game against the Giants. John Elway did it with his right arm, stepping up again as he has done so often in the past. It's 14-7. Back to Steve.
Thanks, Brent. Boy, when you're up against Elway and company, and especially on their home turf, Hank, it's not easy.
Yeah, anything can happen with a great quarterback like he is, and of course the things he does on his own to make things happen. It's never over until it's over.
The holding penalty was actually on 2 different players. Bruce Wilkerson and Don Mosbar of the Raiders were both called for offensive holding. So it's going to be first down and 20. Ball now back at the 48 of Phoenix. Smith in motion. Fake pitch. Beuerlein setting up a screen to the tight end, overthrows the intended receiver, Ethan Horton. Horton, who was a fine running back at the University of North Carolina many years ago, now a tight end, and Gary Hadd was shaken up on the play for Phoenix.
It was a good idea, but bad execution.
So it's going to bring up second down and 20. And, you know, we talked, Hank, about how the Raiders want to go vertical. They want to stretch that field. And they've been successful at over 40 yards, but they haven't thrown as many times deep.
No, they haven't. And, of course, they're very concerned about Gault. You know, they're going to try to double him most of the time. And so then you have to do something else with the remaining backs or tight ends.
Over the middle again to Gault. Complete at the 30, and he's pushed back by Carl Carter. They'll give him his forward progress to the 31. But there is another penalty flag down. A gain of 17 is going to be wiped out again by holding against the Raiders. Eight seconds remaining in the quarter.
Offense, number 63, 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. Second down.
Well, this time it's John Giesek, the left guard. So the Raiders are going the wrong way. They are now back to the 42, and it's the 11th penalty of the game. You add to that all the extracurricular stuff and the offsetting unnecessary roughness penalties, and a few calls. Now time runs out as they started the clock, and it ran out before a play could get off. That's the end of the third quarter with the score still Los Angeles 9 and Phoenix 7. Bo Jackson trying to get outside left, nothing but white shirt, and gains perhaps a 2 is all. Anthony Bell and Tim McDonald out there. We're at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. Steve Zabriskie and Hank Stram, where the Raiders are leading the Phoenix Cardinals 9-7 as we start the fourth quarter of play, and it has been a tight game all the way. And as has been a tradition here, the Raiders are sitting on their helmets.
Greg Townsend, number 93, who's done an outstanding job this afternoon and also during the course of the season.
Yep. Presented with the Raiders' Commitment to Excellence Award prior to the game. Third down and a cab ride. Screen over the middle, incomplete to Marcus Allen, and another penalty flag goes down. They've been trying to get the ball to Allen, but they have been unable to. And it's going to be against the Raiders again. Marcus Allen, of course, won the Heisman Trophy. The Raiders seem to have a corner on the market.
Offense, number 68, penalty declined. Fourth down.
Bruce Wilkerson again, the guilty party. So the Raiders will have to punt it away on 4th and 29. By Sikahema dropping back to about his 15. Jeff Gossett will kick it away from outside his 30. High hanger and a good one. Tikahima at the 9. And he can't get away. Fine play by Dan Ladd to drop him almost in his tracks. A 48-yard punt and just a 1-yard return. We mentioned Marcus Allen as a Heisman Trophy winner on the Raiders. He's not alone, Hank, as a Heisman Trophy winner. These are some of the Heisman Trophy winners the Raiders have had over the years.
Yeah, some great names. Jim Plunkett, and we mentioned Marcus Allen. Tim Brown is not able to play. He'll be back next year. Billy Cannon, who did such a great job for the Raiders, and of course Bo Jackson.
And the Cardinals have had one. Can you name him?
Oh, there it is. John David Crow, and he was a super player.
Texas A&M University. This is the Phoenix Cardinals' worst starting field position today as Tikahima cuts it back and gets out to about the 16. Dragged down by Jerry Robinson. So a good gain on first down. Tikahima out of Brigham Young University has been a versatile do-everything guy. Gain of 6, second down and 4. Earl Farrell squeezing through a hole before he's driven back at about the 20. He's going to be close to a first down. Howie Long and Mike Wise making the tackle. We'll see if he got enough. He did. He got enough for the first down. There is the very highly touted draft choice Tim Rosenbaugh, who is on the sidelines, who has hardly played at all. And Hank, there's a clamoring in Phoenix for him to get in the game.
Well, I asked him before the game whether he thought he would play, and he said he thought perhaps he would. If they got into trouble, they're not in trouble yet. You know, I think what's happened here this afternoon is certainly not the fault of Jerry Hogeboom.
Hogeboom to pass on first down. Has time. Incomplete. Tipped and incomplete. Roy Green missed it, but it was up for grabs for a few seconds, but landed out of bounds.
And like Washington, Lionel Washington, 48, a bump and run. He gives him a shove after he goes by the 5-yard area. The ball is thrown over the top, but you talk about good coverage. You talk about being with him step for step. Washington was that.
The ball then hit Tom Benson's arm and was up in the air. There with the glasses, Tim Brown, one of the 3 Heisman Trophy winners the Raiders have on the roster right now. Brown is on injured reserve. Over the middle for Ernie Jones, who can't hold on. And again, he is hammered right away. Lionel Washington and Ernie Jones have been going at it all day long.
Washington, 48. Jones coming off the ball, looking inside. The ball is thrown high, and he just makes a tackle. That's all. He just makes a tackle right about the time the ball goes over the top of his head.
But Ernie Jones should have caught that ball.
He should have. He had a chance to make the catch. He was a little high, but I guarantee you he was fully aware of where Washington was.
And they're wrestling again on the ground after the play. Third down and 10. The Raiders lead by 2. 12-18 to go in the fourth quarter. Complete. Jay Novacek with the catch for a first down at the 31. Dennis Price and Jerry Robinson get him after a gain of 11.
There's another donut shot there. Dinkin. But really, you know, it's really surprising to watch the Raiders. Unusual, because normally they're very much of a man-for-man team, bump and run. They're playing a lot. This time it's double zone. And that's what they have to do. Be patient. Throw the ball in front of, between linebackers, between the linebackers, and also the defensive backs. You got it right on the money.
First and 10 is a 31. Farrell in motion. Hogeboom again with time and completes it. At the 40, maybe a little short of the first down, to the tight end, Rob Awalt. Mike Harden on the stop. Awalt looks like he has a bionic elbow there, huh? Some kind of pad.
This time of the year, look at that pad. Look at the size of it. They got pads all over them because most of them are playing with a lot of aches and pains, which is expected this late in the season.
Awalt, one of the very few not to be out with an injury for Phoenix this year.
It's almost like it looks like a baseball glove hanging on his elbow.
or a hockey goalie's glove. Second down and 1. Nowhere to go. Bob Golick waiting right in the hole. And it'll be third down. When Golick and Howie Long are standing side by side, there's no room.
Golick 79. Here again, he gets the penetration. He's really done a terrific job inside there this afternoon, and of course he's done a good job since he's been with the Raiders. And he's really provided a lot of pressure on Kennard, the center, who is really a very fine center for the Cardinals.
Golick now in his 10th year in the league. Third down and 1. Farrell has the first down as he gets to the 44. We're under 10 minutes remaining in the game. Los Angeles still leading 9-7.
Now this time, look at Golick. Look how far off the line of scrimmage he is, trying to read and react to what he sees, and it creates a little room there for the center to block him, and he doesn't get nearly the penetration that he did on the other play when he was right on the line of scrimmage.
To their own 44. Hogeboom airing it out for Jones with a catch at the 20 of Los Angeles. Ernie Jones holding on and apparently shaken up for a 35-yard gain. Terry McDaniel was right with him, but that's the second time Jones has made a spectacular scoring position as they trail by 2. Earl Farrell with a hole. Inside the 15 to the 14. Anderson got him around the ankle. 8.5 minutes remaining in the game.
They get off the mark pretty good that time.
You think they ought to stay with the run down here, Hank? Or?
Well, they're moving the ball. Yeah, they ought to take as much time off the clock as they possibly can. They might throw a play action. They got one back here. They won't do that now.
This is their first time inside the Raiders' 20. Sikahema hit in the backfield and dropped by Scott Davis.
Reverse pivot by the quarterback, kind of a counter move. Watch the quarterback and watch Farrell, number 31. He's going to be trapping on Townsend on the outside, but the penetration inside kept him from making any kind of progress on the play. Davis got the penetration and stopped the play. Number 7.
6'7", 275 pounds. No gain. 12th play of the drive. Hogeboom gets away from Howie Long. He is blasted at the 6-yard line. And he may be shaken up. A 9-yard run. Lyndon King and Mike Harden nearly took his head off.
Hogeboom looking. They got a crossing pattern on the right side. A missed tackle by Howie Long. And Hogeboom, who doesn't really have great speed, but he has great anticipation, slid right into first base there, and he already got a hit there by Lyndon King, number 52.
They mark it at the 6. It is first down and goal.
This would be a good time right here to throw a play-action pass.
Farrell up the middle. Down to maybe the 2-yard line.
Well, they're getting a better push.
Hogeboom's taking a knee for a moment. You can't blame him.
Rob Golick with the tackle.
Got the signal that time while he was on his knee.
They mark it at the 3-yard line where it is 2nd down and goal. Ron Wolfley, maybe a yard. Eddie Anderson jumping in there along with Wolfley. As a couple of wide receivers come out, and they're going with the big boys on 3rd and goal at the 2. 3 tight ends. Novacek in motion. Pass to Novacek. Touchdown! The Cardinals quiet the crowd with a 3rd and goal from the 2. Novacek went into the formation and out and caught the ball for the touchdown.
Well, you talk about going up and getting it. Novacek, number 85. Look at this. He goes back and throws it to him on the outside. And really, the coverage is not that bad, really. He's right there with him. Benson is right there and watches the ball come into Novacek's hands, and he makes the catch for the touchdown.
Novacek, a decathlete in college, using a little of that leaping ability. Here's Al Del Greco for the extra point with 5:10 left to go in the game. Phoenix is back on top of the Raiders as they lead it now 14-9.
This is
Here in Los Angeles. 5:10 to go in the game. Del Greco and Cardinals kick it off. Mueller and Adams are back there, and it's Mueller. Good hole. Del Greco cuts him down as he gets it into Phoenix territory, along with Jay Taylor. A 48-yard return by Vance Mueller. The Raiders will be in business when we come back. Summary of the game so far shows that Hogeboom has been able to capitalize a couple of times, and the Raiders' missed opportunities early, Hank, could probably hurt them at this point, as Phoenix, after a 90-yard drive, leads at 14-9. Now the Raiders, with their big return, are back in it with good field position.
Yeah, it's amazing how that, you score a touchdown, and for some reason or other, a lot of times, you have the feeling that we're back in business, and they relax a little bit, and they let them right off the hook with good field position. And now, of course, the Raiders have a great opportunity to get back in this football game again.
Well, the way that the Phoenix Cardinals took the lead was on a long touchdown or drive of 90 yards, and we'll show you the touchdown once again in a moment. 1st and 10 Raiders after the 48-yard return by Vance Mueller. Beuerlein throws it low and incomplete, intended for Willie Gault. It was a 3rd and goal from the 2 when Hogeboom took the 14-9 lead. It is 2nd down and 10. And there's Novacek on the sideline. Beuerlein passing quickly completes to Gault. And Gault tackled immediately. The ball came out, but he is ruled to be down by contact. Ken Harvey on the stop. And it may be close enough for them to measure. And they are going to measure and see if it's enough for a 1st down. Steve Beuerlein trying to get it going. He's under 50% completions today, but he does have 235 yards.
Tom Walsh is calling the plays for the Raiders on the sideline, sending him in to Beuerlein.
It looks like they're going to be a tad short. A skosh shy. A bit nigh of the pole. Something like that anyway.
Yeah, I can understand that.
They didn't make it, in other words.
I have to decipher all that stuff and try to figure out what you said.
Well, skosh, a tad, a bit,
Oh, sure.
It was close. So now it is third down in a matter of inches. But the Raiders have not been successful in their last third down attempt of the last 8 times.
Advantage for them. Oh, here they come up the middle.
Jackson trying to power it in there, and the offensive line did not get a big push. Now again, there's pushing again. Lonnie Young pushing it with Trey Junkin.
They had a distinct advantage that time had they been able to run to the outside left. But they chose to go inside, and they're going to measure it now. It's going to be very close. But I think they made the necessary yardage for the first down.
4:26 remain to be played in the ball game, and it is yet to be decided, rather. Art Shell undefeated at home since taking over for Mike Shanahan, 5-0. First down, Raiders. And that first down right there, Hank, might go a long way to keep him undefeated here at home. When Phoenix had the ball and drove 90 yards, they ate up almost 9 minutes on the clock. Here in the second half, the Raiders are averaging just 1.9 yards per play on first down. The first half, they averaged 11.5 yards per play on first down. Beuerlein knocked down, and it's going to be a sack for Rod Sadler, the 4th time Phoenix has gotten to Beuerlein.
Sadler got the penetration like he was in the huddle. Got off the ball in good shape, and there he is right up the middle. It didn't look like anybody got a piece of him at all. Beuerlein was lucky enough to duck underneath the would-be blow, but it's still a sack, and they lose yardage on the play.
Had he maintained his feet, Freddie Joe Nunn was there ready to finish him off. The ball is back at the 44 of Phoenix. Second down, 18. Beuerlein firing complete to Mike Dial. And the big tight end is inside the 35. Ken McDonald and Lonnie Young stopping.
Playing this kind of defense, the tight end should be open. Here's Dial coming to the outside, makes a square move, makes the catch against the zone. Young jumps up on top and makes the tackle. And of course, McDonald was trying to help out too, but Young is the one that really made the tackle.
He bulldogged him down after a gain of 12. Third down and 6. Two call intended for Mervyn Fernandez, and a penalty flag goes down as Carl Carter busts him out of bounds and maybe hit him too early. Carter can't believe it.
Pass interference. Defense, number 41, first down.
When you see a player take his helmet off, you know he's hot. Hank Coolman just took his hat off.
And he's hot. Let's see what happened here. Now the ball was thrown high. Well, he pushed him out of bounds. That's what he did. In the process of falling, he gave him a shove, and that's why they called it.
But they called interference.
I can't understand that.
I could understand if they called him for hitting him late, but they called it as pass interference, and I didn't see it.
I didn't either. I thought maybe that's why they were calling it at the end of the play, but if it's pass interference, I didn't see any pass interference.
The pass interference call is being reviewed right now, apparently, by the replay official, Bill Swanson. So Carter, who is still walking around in total disbelief, may get a reprieve. Here's the announcement.
Pass interference. Defense, number 41, first down.
So it is upheld by the replay official as being pass interference.
I sure didn't see it or couldn't see it.
Well, it moves the ball to the 18-yard line, and it is the 6th play of the drive for Oakland. And the pass interference penalty on third down keeps the drive alive. Steve Smith trying to cut back But Sadler's right there waiting for him. So Los Angeles will face a second down and about 9 as he gained 1. Now we're under 2.5 minutes to play in the game. Phoenix leading LA 14-9. From the 22. Good protection. Dial again over the middle, close to the first down. Looks like he has it. For those of you tuning in expecting to see 60 Minutes, we welcome you to CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League. Along with Hank Stram, this is Steve Zabriskie in the LA Coliseum, where the Phoenix Cardinals lead 14-9 over the LA Raiders, and we will return to Los Angeles in just a minute. Under 2 minutes to play. Phoenix leading by 5, but the Raiders with first and 10 at the Phoenix 13. Each team with a full complement of 3 timeouts remaining as Beuerlein tries to quiet the crowd. Jackson. Smith with a block. Jackson hurdling to the 4.
That's what we talked about a little while ago. He really hasn't run outside that much. And to get him a head start and get him a little depth that time, they sent him in motion and pitched the ball to him. And they get a good block out in front, just enough room. Smith gets the block out in front. And, of course, Bo Jackson in space. He's hard to tackle.
Jackson had been held in check here in the second half after 103 yards in the first half. Prior to that 9-yard run, he had gained only 2 in the second half.
I still don't understand why they didn't let him run to the I formation. That's what he does best.
Well, they now have it. Second down. About a yard to go. Timeout now is called by Los Angeles. They're on the 4-yard line. 1:50 to play when we return to the Coliseum. This place is far from full, but they're making plenty of noise as the Raiders, they took their first timeout. They have 2 remaining with 1:50 to play. Hogeboom with 2 TD passes. The Raiders have not yet scored a touchdown, but they have second down and 1 at the Phoenix 4-yard line. Close to a first down. And, of course, they go to the money man when they get down here, Hank.
Who else? Who else, huh?
We'll see if they do, in fact, have enough for a first down. It will give them first and goal at the 3. And Art Shell waits to look. It is not enough for a first down. It is going to be third down and about a foot to go. The penalty flag is down as Smith gets the first down, but is it against Los Angeles? The head linesman, Tom Johnson, made the call.
False start. Offense, number 68. Still third down.
Bruce Wilkerson called for a penalty for the 3rd time today. Let's look for number 68.
The right tackle. There he is. It looked more like the right guard got off that time than it did the right tackle, didn't it?
It did. It might have been Wisniewski who moved too early. It's 76. A reminder that 60 Minutes goes past the barbed wire and the guard dogs to visit a place none of us ever imagined we would see, a Russian labor camp for political prisoners. 60 Minutes coming up next, except in the Mountain and Pacific time. 3. It is third down and about 5 yards to go. 5 yards and a foot. Into the end zone and overthrowing is Beuerlein. He had Steve Smith and Mervyn Fernandez there. But the clock stops with 1:18 to play, and it'll be 4th down for the Raiders. They trail by 5, so the field goal won't do them much good.
Boy, that is really murder, isn't it, to get down to that close that many times in this game and not be able to score a touchdown.
This is not the first time it's happened today, but it's certainly the most crucial time for them to have a penalty. Timeout is called by Phoenix with 1:18 remaining in the game. Denver has lost to the New York Giants 14-7 this afternoon. The Raiders at 7-6 must win their 3 remaining games, and now they trail 14-9 with 1:18 left to play here, and they're faced with 4th and 5.
Be interested to see if they roll him out this time. They haven't done that very much, and I don't know whether the knee part of it is a factor.
It's officially 4th and 6 as they need to get an extra foot or so for a 1st down. And preliminary movement. Flags fly, and who was it? Was Phoenix pulled off, or did they jump off?
They're all pointing at each other. Phoenix is pointing to the Raiders, and the Raiders are pointing at Phoenix.
And the preliminary indication is that it is against Phoenix. We're going to have another officials conference on this one. The ball game could hang in the balance on this call. Let's hear what Dick Hancock has to say after the officials conference.
Offside. Defense penalized half the distance. It will still be 4th down.
So the Raiders will not have as far to go, as it'll move it to the 4-yard line.
That's a long way to go in this part of the field, I guarantee it.
They need about 1.5 yards to get a 1st down. Hank Kuhlman looking on, and Art Shell getting ready to maybe send Marcus Allen into the game. And now the Raiders use a timeout. They have 1 timeout remaining. And this will just be a 40-second timeout. Well, tonight here on CBS, 60 Minutes will kick off the Sunday night lineup as usual. That'll be followed by Angela Lansbury in Murder, She Wrote. And then Kevin Dobson stars in the CBS Sunday movie, Money, Power, Murder. That's all tonight, right here on CBS. Now the officials have come over to make explanations to both coaches. Art Shell hearing it from referee Dick Hancock. And there you see the timeouts remaining. Should the Raiders score here, Hank, Phoenix would have 1 minute and 2 timeouts.
Yeah, the big question is going to be, should they score? If they score, will they score? They haven't had much success here this afternoon at all.
Well, they've certainly had enough opportunities to figure out what it is they want to do with all the timeouts and penalties. It's not going to be for lack of it being poorly planned or spur of the moment if they don't make it.
And sometimes, however, as you know, sometimes you think long, you think wrong.
That's right. In every sport.
There's Al Davis biting his nails up there in the press box.
Willie Gault is out of there. They've gone with the big guys again, the big tight formation, Dial on the wing, and a tackle eligible in Steve Wright at tight end. Marcus Allen over the top for the first down.
A lot of deliberation about that call, but it was a good call, especially giving it to Marcus Allen. On that kind of a situation, he's a great leaper, and he's done that many, many times. He's got good timing and gets off his feet and into the end zone. I mean, that's their yardage for the first down.
Phoenix calls a timeout. The Cardinals stopping the clock with 56 seconds remaining.
See him leap, and he's got a good lean. A lot of times a guy will leap, and he'll stay straight up in the air, straight, instead of bending like he did. He had a good lean that time and got in there for the first down.
The ball is resting between the 1 and 2 yard line. And the Raiders, who have had to settle for 3 field goals in 5 attempts, have been unable to punch it in. Must do it here in the last 56 seconds or forget about the playoffs this season.
I'll tell you one thing about Art Shell. He's under control down there. He doesn't look like he's very nervous, does he?
Nope. Beuerlein again trying to get the crowd to settle down so they can hear the call on 1st and goal. Smith. Did he make it? No signal yet. Apparently, he did not.
It really looked like they got a pretty good push, but evidently he didn't make it.
Now the Raiders use their final timeout.
Their third and final timeout. This is a 40-second timeout.
43 seconds left in the game.
There he is. He goes into that pile. Somebody got penetration. A Cardinal got penetration. They slowed his leap down a little bit and kept him from getting in there for the touchdown and breaking a plane.
Looks like his head crossed the goal line, but the ball didn't, and that's the key.
That's the only thing that really matters. The ball has to cross the plane.
Art Shell immediately asking for the timeout at the end of that play. So the Raiders have no timeouts remaining. They have 43 seconds left in the game. And it is 2nd down and goal from about the 1-foot line. This is the 13th play of this lengthy Raiders drive in an attempt to win the game. Marcus Allen is in there, and he has the ball. Touchdown!
We see the surge by the offensive line, and watch Marcus Allen. The nice thing about it is, as he's running, he's looking and seeing where the gap is. He doesn't just leap blindly into the area. He veered off to his left a little bit while he's in the air and got in there for the touchdown.
The extra point is good. A 2-point ball game with 40 seconds to go as Los Angeles has forged back in front. Marcus Allen doing what he does so well. Probably got perfect marks on the dive even from the East German judge. And right away, Hank, you could see Hank Kuhlman get organized, get his team ready for the final opportunity that they're going to have.
Yeah, he's telling them we got some time left, and the important thing here now is what they do with the kickoff return and what the Raiders do as far as coverage is concerned. And you have to understand that the Raiders are the #2 team in the National Football League with regard to kickoff coverage. And they do a terrific job in this area, so it's going to be interesting to see where they make a play on this kickoff.
Do you think they might squib kick it, Hank, or do they have enough confidence in their coverage to go ahead and try to kick it deep?
No, I think they'll kick it deep. I think you got to make them earn the right to get field position. If you kick it shallow, why automatically they recover, why they get good field position right off the bat. They have to rely on the coverage.
Art Shell remaining calm and cool even after the touchdown was scored. He knows the game is not over yet. Yeager can kick him deep. He's had 14 touchbacks this year. That's third best in the NFL. This one will not make it. Usher out to the 30. So pretty good field position for Phoenix with now 35 seconds remaining.
And that was a terrible kickoff. Terrible time to make that kind of a kick.
It looked like his foot hit the ground. So now the game is in the hands of Hogeboom, the Phoenix offense, and the Los Angeles defense. Phoenix has one timeout remaining. Hogeboom will run it, headed for the sideline, and out of bounds at the 45. He has a first down, but he ate up 9 seconds on the clock. A 15-yard gain. 26 seconds to play.
I'll tell you one thing about Hogeboom. He's been around long enough. He's got a great awareness. He knows what's happening and what he has to do. He's always under control.
16-14 Raiders. 26 seconds to go. First and 10 at the Phoenix 45. 60 minutes follows, except from the West and Mountain Time Zone. Batted back to Hogeboom and incomplete. The clock stops with 21 seconds remaining. If you are thinking field goal, should Phoenix get themselves into position, Del Greco's longest is a 50-yarder.
Well, really what they have to do here, Steve, they got to get the ball, try to get a ball about 18 or 20 yards down the field. And if they get to that spot, then call timeout.
Right. Del Greco's career longest is 51 yards. Over the middle, complete. Don Holmes hit immediately. 10-yard gain. Phoenix does not want to use that last timeout, but there are now 7 seconds left to play. Hogeboom will throw it out of bounds. 1 second. Did the time run out? Did time run out before the ball got out of bounds? Hogeboom is angry. Hank Kuhlman is livid.
He really should have just gone back into the pocket, threw it right down to the ground right away.
He threw a floater out of bounds, and it took a long time to get there.
That's exactly what happened. All he had to do was throw the ball into the ground as soon as he got the snap, and that would have preserved it in good shape. The blooper he threw out of bounds, that helium ball, killed the clock, and that was the end of the ball game. What a bizarre finish for the Cardinals.
Hogeboom and Golick talking. And the time runs out as the ball floats harmlessly out of bounds. Watch the ball have to be reset by the official. I think one of the Raiders kicked it.
Okay, here, but right now he ought to just spike the ball. Look how much time it takes to deliver the ball over the top, and the time expired while the ball was in the air.
Garth Jacks caught that ball. There was 1 second remaining on the clock. We'll be back, and I'm sure they'll talk about this for a long time.